these are just some of the vertebrae that you're going to have in your bone box at school. Some of these are very important and have particular names that you need to know everything about them. And others, not so much. You'll just need to know if it's a cervical, if it's a thoracic, or if it's a lumbar. But we'll get to how to tell those apart later. First, you'll see that all of them have a hole running down the center of the vertebrae. And that is called your vertebral foramen. And that's where your spinal cord runs through. You'll see that two of these have larger vertebral foramens than the rest of them combined. And the reason why there's two here of the same vertebrae is this one is real bone, and this one is the plastic bone that you'll see in the bone boxes at school. But both of these are the exact same one. And this is your first cervical vertebrae. But you're going to call this the atlas. Just like in Greek mythology, how the Titan Atlas held up the world, this one is holding up the skull, which is why it does not have a vertebral body like the rest of them do. Because this is just where the brain stem's coming down into this large vertebral foramen. But one thing that's important is the cervical vertebrae all have 3 holes. So if you can count to 3, you'll be able to tell which one of these are also cervical vertebrae. So 1, 2, 3, cervical vertebrae. 1, 2, 3, also cervical vertebrae. See it better there. And then this one, you can't see the 2 holes in the side, but this is the next one we're going to look at in detail. This one right here is called the axis. And it's called the axis because this one has a little structure on it right here called the dens, or the odontoid process. And this fits into this part right here of the axis, and this allows an axis of rotation. So that's why this is atlas, this is axis. These are the 2 you need to know by name. As for the rest of them, how do you tell cervical, thoracic, and lumbar apart? You've already learned count to 3. Every single cervical vertebrae will have 3 holes. So these 2 are cervical. Now, if you look at this one right here, this kind of looks like a giraffe. So all the ones that have this process, called the spinous process, pointing straight down, is going to be a thoracic. This one also looks like a little giraffe. And so that's a thoracic. And then the last one, lumbar. So lumbar has a very large vertebral body. It's got a very thick structure because these are going to be the final 5 vertebrae that all the other vertebrae are going to be sitting on. So if it's got a large vertebral body, it's going to be lumbar. And then the last one is the sacrum. And if this kind of looks familiar to you, this was what costume designers put on actors' heads when they were filming Star Trek, and this was what the Klingon forehead later became, a sacrum from a human body.